Being an ironworker, yeah, you're pretty badass. You are.
Ironworkers historically have been alpha male, alpha female. We're leaders on the job.
The ironworkers are like professional athletes of the building trades in terms of the way we look at ourselves and what we have to do on a daily basis.
Our trade is one not for the faint of heart. We live our lives on the edge.
It's more about killing the job, getting it done, moving on to the next one.
It's an elite environment. We do a very dangerous, hard trade. It's a lot of teamwork. Where it gets skewed is the hard-nosed, badass attitude, confrontational type attitudes.
Some of them enjoyed the nickname. It was part of the camaraderie of it. Mine was long hair, believe it or not.
There's a little dinosaur blood that runs through us. When the new person showed up on the job, whether they were an apprentice or somebody from out of town, they had to be quote unquote broken in. We would have to make them so that they fit in with us the way we want.
And they don't realize some of the effects of what they believe is good-natured ribbing, and it turns out to be harmful or hurtful.
So they decided one day to give him an ironworker haircut. You place their ponytail over the edge of a flange of a beam and hit it with a 4-pounder and cut it off.
It was just accepted that the grumpy old guy treated the young guy the way he was treated, you know. They yelled at him.
Come on, Hayden! I've showed you this 10 times how to do this.
I know that when I've had a yelling and screaming foreman, it did not motivate me to work harder or faster. And as a matter of fact, it probably slowed me down.
There's a difference between yelling and speaking over the volume of the construction environment they're on, and they need to know the difference.
That goes back to the anxiety, starting new jobs. Sometimes it's fine after a couple of days because everything's fine, but you don't know what you're getting into.
Hey buddy, first day on site, you know where I can park around here?
What are you doing parking my job site? Do I look like valet to you? We'll find somewhere else to park. Are you new?
I've come back from holidays to have my work boots filled with cake, my gloves full of sparkles, and hard hat full of QC chalk. And obviously that first day back, you're not the most comfortable.
Early in my career, I experienced quite a bit of bullying, not only because of my age, but because of my skin color.
Hey Jacob, you know those guys, they don't mean anything, right? You're good, right?
Nah, not really.
You're good.
It took me a while to decide to get into the trade. Holding me back was the judgment and not being treated right.
I have a university student that went to work last summer. He's deaf. Some of the people on site thought it was a big joke to tell him he was stupid because he couldn't hear what they were saying. And this is a tough kid. He called me in the evening crying, and he said, I'm not staying here. I can't put up with this.
You don't realize how isolated you are until you're not isolated.
You have those people that won't get involved in team events, but it's most likely because they weren't invited and they don't like to speak up.
Yeah, it really hurt. And the thing is, I don't share anything with anybody, but you can see I'm kind of upset. I don't talk anymore, or just do what I have to do, and that's it.
We do work in some pretty isolated situations. We do work at night. We do work in places where you're not going to be surrounded by people that you necessarily are comfortable with.
I've got all the eyes of the job site on me as I'm walking across the job site simply because of my gender.
The culture can be a bit abrasive.
Okay, we have a load right here hooked up. I want it to go between column H7 and K7, so let's get up there. Come on, guys. Whoa, 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 where do you think you're going?
I'm good, man.
I don't think so, I got this. Attaboy, Smitty, let her know.
I'm good, man.
I don't know.
I said I'm good.
Oh, whatever you say. scary.
It's usually the good old boys club that has a problem with change, and they don't really enjoy it when someone comes in who is able to do that job who doesn't look like them.
The side effects of bullying and harassment, they're far-reaching. The damaging effects can carry on for years.
I was centered out by someone who should have been probably helping me, but I was the apprentice and I was the easy guy to go after. There was a little bit of nose to nose, but obviously my mind wasn't on things, and no more than an hour later I injured myself on the job.
It would impose a safety issue because your head's elsewhere. Or you just got white noise filling your head because of what was just said to you.
Your words can cut other people a lot deeper than some. It can break the focus on a job that you need a lot of focus for. We're dealing with heights, hot molten metal, cutting, welding. There's a lot of room for error there.
Your mind's not on your game.
You don't leave it at the gates. It goes home with you. You might be driving and get into a car accident because you're not thinking about what you're doing. You may get home and yell at your kids and worry about what's coming up tomorrow rather than spending time with your family.
It was difficult to work in that type of an environment when you're constantly under siege from your peers.
It's no wonder in some areas we have a problem attracting and retaining.
They didn't leave because the work was too hard or too grueling or too dangerous. They left because of how they were treated on the job.
And he never came back. Never saw him again. Left the trade.
Say we invested a year into training a young apprentice, and they walk away, we've lost a year.
How does that help the world, and how does that help us get an apprentice to being a journey person?
We really do need to develop the next generation, especially with the baby boomers retiring.
The benefit plan is only as good as many people are putting into it. And if we don't bring people into our union that are different than us and create a culture where they're welcome, there will be no more union.
We need people, so if you're pushing people away, they're gonna go away.
That crap's gotta stop, quite frankly.
It affects our whole industry in terms of its viability going forward.
But it's also wrong.
It's awareness, self-awareness, and being inclusive of everybody on the job, because we need all the hands we can get to build the stuff we're building.
You know, if the job goes well, we make money, we can bid on another project and try and keep everybody employed.
A small joke is a small joke, but when you push it beyond that, it's no longer acceptable.
The big five, and that's rude, lewd, or crude jokes, anything about religion, race, gender, sexuality, politics. When you get into that, you've already stepped into a place that you shouldn't be.
If you see any type of harassment, stop the harassment. Somehow intervene.
Make sure you can communicate with your business manager, your superior, your job steward. I think you will be able to resolve things quicker instead of leaving everything accumulate.
If the foreman or the super is the problem, we as a union will address the problem.
And it doesn't have to be someone with a white hard hat. It can be an apprentice. It just takes the one person.
If you are going in conjunction with somebody else to make somebody oppress, you're also guilty.
If you ignore it, and then how are you gonna feel something happens?
If you're an in-your-face kind of person and you don't actually have inhibitions about walking up to somebody and telling them to knock it off, that works. Or you can tell them that, hey, that joke felt inappropriate, but you're still directly talking to the aggressor.
Just approaching that person and saying, are you okay today? And stating the issue, that their behavior is an issue.
Ask a question, you can distract from the situation. You can go in and say, hey, I need a hand with this. You don't necessarily have to directly intervene.
Delegating. We can walk up to somebody and say, hey, I don't really feel comfortable. Would you walk with me and help me take care of this situation? And having that person that maybe is perceived as having more power could walk with you and do something.
The people that have the moral courage, the people who are centered, right, and grounded, They need to be the ones who speak up to put an end to it.
We need to be able to represent anybody who wants to become a construction worker and give them a safe place to actually flourish and then practice that trade to become a tradesperson. Or it doesn't matter what your ethnicity is, your race is, your sexuality is, your gender is.
Treat the people that you're dealing with like they're family.
We need to just treat people with respect just for them simply being a human being.
They have to be accepting that things are changing and that we do have the same training, we do have the same skills, and we know that we have to show up every day and be the best we can be to help that change move along.
They want to learn. So you tell them why they're doing a task, why you do it this way. I'm gonna show you how I do it, and then I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna watch you do it. And then I'm gonna coach you along your way, and you'll find your way of doing it.
When they do have an issue and they come to you with it, believe them. Take it seriously.
It's up to us to create that culture of acceptance, but it starts with the general membership.
Accomplish the work, do it safe. This is badass. Going back home safe. This is badass. Treating people do nothing on job site, that's an asshole.
A union is a group of people that are going towards a common goal. So if that common goal is to extinguish bullying and harassment, that's what will happen.
Like everyone else in the world, you want to make money, you want to live a good life, you want to go home to your wife and kids or whoever you're going home to. You want to leave a legacy that makes you better than the generation before you.
I think that's probably the most satisfying thing as an iron worker is you're building things, including people.
It boils also down to the mental health and the well-being of our people. If you see something, you say something just like we would on a violation.
See something, you say something, and that's the key.
If you see something, say something.
See something, say something.
See something, say something.
If you see something, say something.
If you see something that is bullying harassment, then you need to say something.
See something, say something.
When you see something, say something.
The ironworkers won't stand for mistreating any brother or sister. You got to get on the page where if you see something, you need to say something.
If you see something, say something.